Hi, I'm Betty from All Queued Up Podcast. I'm here today to talk about some misconceptions about things surrounding the pandemic that we are all going through right now. One of the first things I want to talk about is the fact that people don't seem to understand that a law and a mandate are the same thing. Um, when a law is enacted, it is put through the House and the Senate, and it is signed into law by a government, state government, federal, whatever. With a mandate under a emergency order, and uh, during that time, he can pass a mandate. In this case, it is wearing masks. He or she, I should say. Um, while in the state. This is enacted during an emergency, but it is the same thing as a law passed through the legislature. The only difference really is that when the emergency crisis is over, then they will rescind the mandate. It's a temporary law, but it is still just as enforceable as any other law out there. You can't go running around naked in the streets, I mean, that's just normal. When it comes to other people's safety, wearing a mask is kind of imperative. A mandate does have the same effect as a law. Health officers in the state have said that everyone must comply with the governor's mandate, which makes it enforceable by health officers and police. So, in short, a mandate is a law enacted by a state government during a national emergency. You must abide by it. Now, for all of you out there insisting that you don't have to wear a mask because it's against the ADA, that's not true. And for those of you who don't know, the ADA is the American with Disabilities Act. The ADA does protect disabled citizens. It does not give you special privileges during a pandemic. They will not deny a handicapped person in the store if they're wearing a mask. Because not wearing masks puts other patrons and shoppers at risk. Being in a wheelchair doesn't put anybody else at risk. Walking on crutches doesn't put anybody else at risk. For most health concerns, even outside of this pandemic, disability people they don't pass on the things that are wrong with them. And as a partially disabled person, I can assure you that I have a bad hip. You're not going to get a bad hip from just hanging around me. That's just not possible. The ADA does not provide a blanket exemption to people with disabilities from complying with legitimate safety requirements necessary for safe operations in a business or even a federal building or a county building. You not wearing a mask is absolutely against safety regulations, because if you're not wearing a mask and I am, I might have COVID-19. I might have had it for, the past 2 weeks, not even know it. But I'm wearing a mask, but you're not, and my mask is to help protect you, and your mask is to help protect me. It's a matter of when your rights end are where mine begin. And when you go out and you don't wear a mask, you are infringing upon the rights of everyone else around you because you feel special. Well, let me tell you what, sweetheart, you are not special. And, you know, another part of this is the anti-vaxxers. And I don't understand it. I've heard excuses, you know, that say things like, uh, let me read this here. I've heard things from, well, y'all are really dumb, so dumb. They're microchipping us. It's nothing but a placebo. It will cause mutations. No. Um, J&J uses embryonic stem cells, and that's against my religion. What? Like, these aren't people, they're cells. Y'all need to kind of think about this for a minute. Uh, when y'all don't get vaccinated, the truth is, you are not contributing to herd immunity. And now that we have all of these different variations out there, if you don't get a vax, there's a good chance you're going to die. I don't understand it. If it's a placebo, why do you care? Just do it. If you think they're microchipping us, honey, I got news for you. Do you own a phone? Well, if you own a phone, they're watching you. It's a surveillance state. I mean, really. Do you think they don't know what's going on? They do. They may tell you they don't, but they do. I mean, it's ridiculous. Most of the people who've had these vaccinations are not having ill side effects, and yeah, we did push it out early. Would y'all have been happier if we didn't? I don't think that you would. I mean, getting a vaccination is basically our quickest way to getting back to a semblance of normal. I've known several people so far that have gotten the vaccination, and not just liberals, not just, Democrats. I'm also talking about, Republicans, because hello, I'm sorry, I would prefer to get vaccinated and not get COVID. Call me crazy. But, there's another reason why I'm very perturbed about the situation. When I was young, I'm 41 now, but when I was young, I was 3 years old, and my mother didn't vax me. I don't know why. It was the early 80s. I don't know why. But I did catch measles, and I was living with my grandparents at the time, and one of the hardest things that I can remember from that time is sitting on my grandmother's lap and her crying, because she knew. She grew up in the Depression. She knew what could happen to young children who get the measles. And, I'll also tell you too, go look into Roald Dahl's story. He'll tell you exactly what he went through when he lost his little girl. So when I became a parent, it was very obvious to me that, vaccination is very important. It needs to be done. All of my children have been vaccinated. I have been vaccinated. I get my yearly, not yearly, but when that time comes around, like for your DTaP, I get that as well. I don't understand the willful ignorance of people. I mean, I know some people out there just they can't comprehend things, but I've also encountered many people who think that they don't need it. They're fine. And maybe you are fine. But what about your grandma? What about your mom? What about your kids? What about people you interact with on a daily basis? This is not something that we should be taking issue with to this extent. It's science. It needs to be done if we are to survive as a human race. There is a good chance that if these mutations keep happening, there won't be many of us left. And I think it's high time that you stop making it a political issue. It's not a political issue. It's a human issue. It's imperative, because unless more of you start going out there and getting your vaccinations, we are not going to reach herd immunity. And it's going to hurt every single person in this country, from the smallest to the oldest. And I have to ask you, is that really what you want?